The spaceport was quiet that night. Jason sat alone at a metal table in the back of a small bar. His food was cold. He hadn't touched it. He just stared out the window, watching ships rise into the stars. He looked tired, like someone who had seen too much but felt nothing anymore. Jason was a cargo pilot, nothing special. He moved boxes across the galaxy, planet to planet. No big missions, no medals. Just work, money, and silence. That's how he liked it. Until she walked in. The door slid open with a soft hiss. A girl stepped inside. Not a girl, an alien. She had glowing blue eyes, soft silver skin, and strange markings across her neck. Her cloak was torn and dirty, and she looked like she had been running. Her eyes scanned the bar. Then, she walked straight toward Jason. He blinked. Maybe she had the wrong person. She sat down across from him without asking. The other people in the bar stared. Jason frowned. Can I help you?" he asked. The alien girl leaned forward, her voice low and fast. "I need you," she whispered. Jason froze. "What?" She looked around nervously. "They're coming. I don't have time to explain. You need to come with me right now." Jason laughed a little, thinking this was some kind of joke. "Lady, I don't know you." "I know," she said quickly. "But you're the only one who can help me. Please, they'll find me soon." Before he could respond, she suddenly grabbed his wrist. "What are you doing?" he said, trying to pull back. But she was strong. Much stronger than she looked. She dragged him out of the bar and into the dark hallway of the spaceport. "Jason!" shouted, but no one came. The girl moved fast, almost flying through the corridors. Jason's boots slammed on the floor as he tried to keep up. "Stop! I don't know who you are," he yelled. She didn't answer. They turned a corner, and suddenly, a glowing portal opened in front of them. It looked like a tear in space. Wind and light burst from it. Jason's eyes widened. "What the hell is that?" "Home," the girl said. Then she pulled him through it. Everything went white. Jason landed hard on the ground. His head spun. His ears rang. The air smelled sweet and strange. He sat up slowly. They weren't in the spaceport anymore. Above them were two giant moons. The sky was red and full of stars he didn't recognize. Strange trees surrounded them, glowing softly like lamps in the dark. The ground beneath him felt soft, like moss. Jason gasped. Where are we?" The girl turned and looked at him. Her glowing eyes were softer now, full of pain and fear. "You're on my planet," she said quietly. "And I'm sorry. I had no choice." Jason stood, brushing dirt off his jacket. "You abducted me. That was kidnapping." "I know," she whispered. "But if I didn't take you, they would have caught me and killed me, and soon they'll come for you too." Jason stared at her, confused and angry. "Who are they? Why me?" "I'm just a cargo pilot." The girl looked down. "No, you're more than that." Jason laughed, shaking his head. "You've got the wrong guy." "I don't," she said. "There's something inside you. I saw it. The sign. The prophecy is real." He frowned. "What are you talking about?" "What prophecy?" The girl reached for his wrist again. "But this time gently." Jason looked down and froze. There was a glowing mark on his skin. A strange symbol he had never seen before. It hadn't been there before. "What is this?" he asked, his voice shaking. The girl looked up at him. Her face was serious now. "It means you're the one." Jason's heart pounded. The one. "What?" She didn't answer. Not yet. Jason didn't open his eyes right away. He felt the danger before he saw it. There was no sound. No buzzing lights. No spaceport walls. Just warm air, the scent of wildflowers, and something breathing softly right beside him. He sat up fast. His back hurt. His head spun, and the red sky above him looked completely wrong. Two moons hung in the air, one cracked like a broken plate. The sky was a strange red-orange, with black clouds drifting slowly. The ground shimmered faintly beneath him, like it was alive. He wasn't on Earth. He wasn't even in human space. He turned and saw her. The alien girl from the spaceport was standing a few feet away, watching him quietly. She held something, long and sharp in her hands. Not a weapon, but a carved stick, glowing faintly blue. Her silver skin shimmered in the alien light, and her glowing blue eyes were full of pain. Jason stood up slowly. "Where are we, my planet?" she said. "This place is called Varea. No one comes here anymore, not even my own people." Jason blinked. "Why?" She didn't answer. Instead, she handed him a flask made of a strange, soft metal. He took a sip. It tasted like sweet rainwater. "Why did you bring me here?" He asked again, more firmly. The girl looked away, her voice quiet. "Because if I didn't, we'd both be dead." Jason stared at her. "I don't even know your name." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, "Zira." "I'm Jason." "I know." Jason narrowed his eyes. "How?" Zira reached into a small pouch on her belt and pulled out something small, a silver cube. When she pressed it, a hologram flickered to life. Jason's face, spinning slowly, with strange alien writing below it. His voice dropped. "What the hell is that?" "You were marked by the old system," Zira said. "The Watchers left signs. I was trained to find them. You're one of them." "One of what?" She stepped closer. "One of the Chosen." Jason shook his head. "Chosen to do what?" Zira pointed to the jungle behind her. A low, deep growl echoed from the trees. Something big was out there. The trees moved unnaturally like they were afraid. Jason's heart jumped. "What is that?" "The reason we left the spaceport," Zira whispered. "They were tracking me. Now they're tracking you too." Jason backed up. "You need to start explaining, now." Zira looked at him with fire in her eyes. "My people created machines to protect us. They turned into monsters. They kill anything with my bloodline, but they fear one thing. The one from the prophecy, a human with the mark. A human who can control them, and that's you." Jason laughed nervously. "Lady, I fix broken engines. I haul space cargo. I'm not your savior." "Your body says otherwise," she said, pointing to his wrist. Jason looked again. The mark was still glowing. Zira stepped closer. "You're not here by chance. You were chosen long before you were born. The systems of the old world are waking up, and now that you're here, they know." Jason's voice dropped. "Who's they?" Suddenly, the ground shook. Birds, if they were birds, screamed in the sky. A shadow passed over them. Then they heard the heavy, sharp sound of something metal walking through the forest. Not one, not two, but many. Zira grabbed his arm. "We have to move now." Jason hesitated for only a second, but that was all it took. A massive machine beast burst through the trees. It looked like a wolf made of black armor, its eyes glowing red, its claws slicing into the ground with sparks. Jason ran. Zira moved like the wind, leading him through glowing vines, strange roots, and rocky hills. Behind them, the metal beasts roared, closing in fast. They slid down a dirt slope, splashing into a shallow alien river. Zira held Jason's hand tight, pulling him behind a thick rock wall. The machines passed just above them, howling, sniffing, but not stopping. Jason was breathing hard, soaked in sweat. "I don't even know what's happening," he gasped. Zira looked at him, water dripping from her silver hair. "You're part of something big," she said softly. "And if you want to live, you have to stop asking why, and start asking what next." Jason stared at her. For the first time he believed her, and somehow he knew this was only the beginning. Jason couldn't sleep. The stars above were too close. The trees whispered in a language he didn't understand. And worst of all, the mark on his wrist was glowing brighter in the dark. He rubbed it, scratched it, tried to wash it in the river. It wouldn't go away. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Xeno sat by a fire nearby, sharpening a long blade made of bone and crystal. She looked calm, but Jason knew she was watching him. Finally he stood and walked over. "I need answers," he said, holding out his wrist. "What is this?" Xeno's eyes glowed faintly as she looked at the mark. Then she reached into her pouch and pulled out something ancient, a folded piece of fabric with a faded map drawn on it. She opened it slowly and pointed at a symbol. It was the same as the one on Jason's arm. Jason's breath caught in his throat. "This map is over 2,000 years old," Xeno said softly. "My people called it the star sign. It appears only on one being every 1,000 years. Why me?" Jason asked, voice low. Xeno looked up at him. "Because you were born with a connection to something we thought was lost forever." Jason sat down on the grass, the fire crackling between them. She continued, "Long ago, humans and my kind worked together. We built great cities and powerful machines. But then, something changed. A war broke out. The humans left. The machines turned on us. We lost everything." Jason stared into the fire. "That sounds like a legend." "It was," she said, "until I found you." Jason leaned back and looked at the stars. "I'm not special. I fix broken engines and drink cheap beer at dirty space bars." Xeno smiled slightly. "And yet, you're here, on a world where only the marked can survive the machines." Jason looked at his arm again. The mark was brighter now. It glowed with threads of gold and blue, like it was waking up. "I feel weird," Jason whispered. "Like something's inside me. Like I'm not alone." Xeno leaned closer. "That's because the system has found you. The core, it remembers your blood." Jason's eyes widened. "The what?" Xeno stood up and looked toward the jungle. "There's an ancient system beneath this planet," she said. "A machine heart, a control center built by our ancestors. Only the chosen human can enter it. Only he can stop the machines from destroying everything." Jason stood up slowly. "And you think that's me?" "I don't think," she said. "I know." Suddenly, the ground rumbled again. Not far away, something exploded, bright red fire lighting up the night. Jason and Xeno turned fast. Smoke rose from the treetops. Xeno grabbed her weapon. That was a scanner drone. "It's hunting us again." Jason's heart pounded. "So, what now?" She looked at him, serious and steady. "Now we go to the place where your mark came from." Jason blinked. "And where's that?" Xeno pointed at the tallest mountain in the distance, its peak covered in lightning. "There," she said. "The temple of the core. If you survive what's inside, you'll have the power to shut down the machines." Jason stared at the mountain. He wasn't ready. He wasn't brave. He didn't believe in prophecies, but the mark on his arm burned hotter. He knew he had no choice. The scream didn't sound human. It came from the jungle deep, metallic and full of hate. Jason froze. Xeno didn't. She yanked him to the side and whispered fast, "Run, no questions." Jason heard it then, heavy footsteps, not like boots, like metal claws tearing through dirt. Behind them, the trees split apart, and the nightmare stepped out. It was taller than a truck. Its body was made of black steel, shaped like a giant beast, part spider, part wolf. Its red eyes glowed like burning coals. And when it opened its mouth, sparks flew from between razor teeth. Xeno shouted, "It's a hunter-class sentinel. It can smell your mark." Jason turned and ran. The ground shook behind them as the creature gave chase. Trees cracked. Birds screeched and vanished into the sky. Jason could barely breathe. Branches cut his face, vines wrapped around his boots, but he kept moving. The jungle was alive, glowing with strange colors, but nothing looked safe. Xeno was faster. She leapt over rocks, slid under thick roots, and kept yelling, "Left, right, jump!" Jason followed blindly, trusting her. But the beast was getting closer. They reached a steep hill. Zira grabbed Jason's hand and pulled him up. Halfway, he slipped, but she didn't let go. With one strong pull, she yanked him to the top. Behind them, the sentinel climbed too, its claws stabbing into the hill like knives. Jason shouted, "We can't outrun it." Zira pointed ahead. "There's an old tunnel. If we reach it, the walls will block its scanners." They ran again. The tunnel was hidden under vines and moss, barely big enough to crawl into. Zira slipped inside first. Jason hesitated. The sentinel burst over the hilltop, roaring with electric rage. Jason dove in. The tunnel was dark and narrow. Cold air brushed against his face as he crawled behind Zira. The beast couldn't fit, but it tried. Jason screamed as metal claws scraped the stone just inches from his foot. Sparks flew. Dust rained down. Then silence. The sentinel had stopped. Jason lay on the floor, heart pounding, lungs on fire. Zira was breathing hard beside him, her face sweaty and pale. Are we safe?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "For now. This tunnel leads to the lower ruins. The beasts can't go there. The stone disrupts their sensors." Jason sat up, wiping dirt from his face. "What are those things?" he asked. Zira looked at the wall, tracing the carvings with her fingers. "They were made to protect our world," she said. "Now they see everything as a threat, especially anything connected to the core." Jason looked at his glowing wrist. The mark was pulsing faster, like it was scared too. Zira turned to him. "It's not just a symbol, it's alive. It responds to danger, to destiny." Jason tried to laugh, but it came out shaky. "Destiny's trying to kill me." Zira smiled, but her eyes were sad. "If you die, my people die too. That's why I took you. Not to use you, but to save us all." Jason didn't answer. He looked into the darkness of the tunnel ahead. "Where does it lead?" Zira stood and offered him her hand. "To the forgotten city. And to the truth." Jason took her hand. Together, they walked deeper into the unknown. But behind them, the beast waited. And it was not alone. The silence was heavy. No birds. No beasts. Not even wind. Just the sound of Jason's footsteps echoing through the stone tunnel. And the quiet breathing of the alien girl walking beside him. They had been underground for hours. Suddenly, Zira stopped. Jason nearly walked into her. She raised a finger to her lips. "We're here," she whispered. Before them stood a wall covered in strange symbols glowing faint blue. Zira reached out and pressed her hand against a circle. Nothing happened. Then Jason's wrist began to glow again, hotter than before. The wall responded to him. It slid open slowly with a deep rumble, revealing a massive underground city. Jason gasped. It was beautiful and broken. Buildings made of crystal and stone stood in silence, cracked and half collapsed. Glowing vines wrapped around old statues. Pools of soft light shimmered on the ground like stardust. It looked like a graveyard made by gods. "This is your city?" Jason asked. Zira stepped forward. "It was. Long ago, before the machines turned." As they entered, shadows moved between the ruins. Jason reached for a rock, ready to defend, but Zira raised her hand. "They're not enemies," she said. "They're the last of us." Out of the shadows came people tall, silver-skinned like Zira, but thinner, older, wounded. Their eyes were tired. Some carried small children. Others had robotic limbs or missing parts covered with cloth. They looked at Jason with fear and hope. A voice called out. An old woman stepped forward, supported by two others. Her eyes locked on Jason's wrist. She dropped to her knees. "It's true," she whispered. "The mark of the one." Jason shifted uncomfortably. "I don't know what you think I am, but I'm just the one who can reach the core," the elder said. Zira spoke. We must tell him everything, now. The people led Jason into an old hall with a broken roof. The stars above shined through. At the center was a round stone table, glowing faintly with light. Zira began to explain. Long ago, her people created the core, a powerful system deep under the planet. It controlled machines, weather asterisk. The door opened with a sound like breathing, not metal grinding, not gears turning, breathing slow, deep, and alive. Jason stood frozen at the entrance of the core. Before him stretched a glowing tunnel, made of smooth black walls and swirling lights. The air was thick and heavy, almost humming with energy. Every step forward felt like walking into a giant living creature. Behind him, Zira placed a hand on his back. This is it, she whispered. Once you enter, there's no turning back. Jason looked at his glowing wrist. The mark was pulsing faster now, beating like a second heart. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. The tunnel closed behind him. Inside, the light changed. Soft blue turned into blinding white, then into red. Jason walked down a wide hallway where the floor lit up beneath each step. Strange symbols floated in the air. The walls showed images, flashes of war, cities falling, machines rising. He saw humans and Zira's people standing side by side. And then fighting. Then came silence. A mechanical voice spoke around him, slow and cold. Identity matched. Human. Access granted. Jason flinched. Who said that? Welcome to core system. Please complete link. Jason stepped into a large, circular room. At the center was a floating console. No buttons, no wires. Just a hovering crystal sphere with the same symbol as his mark. Place your hand, the voice said. Jason hesitated. He thought of running, of giving up, but he also remembered the broken city, the tired eyes of the alien children. Zira's voice trembling when she said, if you die, my people die too. He reached out. The moment his hand touched the crystal, everything exploded. His mind was no longer his. He was flying through data lights, numbers, voices, languages he didn't understand. He saw cities being built, then burning. He felt pain, joy, fear, love all at once. He screamed. Core was inside him. And it was testing him. Memories were pulled from his brain. His childhood, his first ship, his worst regrets, his secret fears, his quiet loneliness. The core asked questions in his mind. What do you fear most? What would you die for? What will you choose, power or peace? Jason didn't know how to answer. He just shouted, I want to help. I don't want anyone else to die. The light turned gold. The pain stopped. And just like that, the system obeyed. Link complete. System reset. In progress. Jason fell to the floor, gasping, shaking. He looked at his wrist. The mark had changed. Now it was gold, shining like a sun. Far above, outside the core, the machines hunting Zira and the survivors suddenly froze. Their eyes turned blue, and they stopped attacking. The air changed. The planet breathed again. Zira looked up from the battlefield and whispered, he did it. Inside the chamber, Jason stood slowly. The voice spoke one last time. You are now part of the core. Its will is yours. Jason didn't smile. He felt powerful, but also responsible. And deep inside, he knew this wasn't the end. This was only the beginning. The machines knelt one by one. Across the jungle, the cities, and even the sky towers buried in ruins. The deadly hunter beasts, scanners, and drones lowered their heads to the ground. The war was over. And the only reason was a single human standing in silence, deep inside the heart of an ancient machine. Jason opened his eyes slowly. He wasn't the same man who sat alone at a spaceport bar days ago. He wasn't running from life anymore. Now, he was part of something bigger. He stepped out of the core chamber. Zira was waiting outside. Her silver skin was dusty, her face scratched, but when she saw him, She didn't smile, she ran to him. "You're alive!" She cried. Jason caught her in his arms, both of them breathing hard. "I thought it would kill you," she whispered. "It almost did," Jason replied softly. "But it listened." Zira pulled back and looked at his wrist. The mark was golden now, glowing gently calm, not burning. "You're not just the one anymore," she said. "You're the key." They stood together at the entrance of the core. Below them, survivors walked out of hiding. The sky above was clearing. The red clouds were fading, and for the first time in years, sunlight touched the ruins. Jason and Zira returned to the hidden city. There were no more alarms, no more beasts, just voices soft, full of wonder, and hope. An elder stood before Jason. "You ended the silence," she said. "We owe you our future." Jason shook his head. "I'm just a pilot," Zira smiled beside him. "Not anymore." That night, the people gathered in the city center. A fire was lit, music played strange, beautiful sounds Jason had never heard before. Children danced, and stories of the chosen human were told for the first time. As truth, not legend, Zira sat beside Jason, watching her people laugh again. "I never believed the prophecy," she said. "Me neither," Jason admitted. "But I believe in you now," she whispered. Jason turned to her. "So, what happens next?" Zira looked up at the stars. "We rebuild," she said. "Together." As dawn broke, Jason looked across the horizon. He came here by force. He had been scared, confused, and angry. But now, he didn't want to leave. Zira took his hand. "Stay. With us, with me." Jason didn't need to think. He smiled. "I'm already home."